Yo, what's up, everybody? How you doing? The Floyd, what's up, grinders? The Coup 1985, what's up? Cat Daddy Lurk, perfect timing, passing through mobile, heading to Orlando. Yo, I saw Cat Daddy Lurk just picked up another PlayStation 4. I saw your tweet, man. I saw what was up. What's up, Jemiah? How you doing? The Game Night, 1, 2, 3. What's up? Come on, let's do this. Anyway, yo, man. It's Monday. I couldn't let you grind this down. Yo, thank you again for so much of the support. I jumped on a couple of podcasts this weekend. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Happy Mother's Day. And, hope everybody had a good time. And I know it's tough times, but be sure to say hello to your mother for me, as they say. But what's up, Jemiah? How you doing? Anyway, yeah, some more stuff went down today. You know, what I told you it's gonna be a fun time. So basically, I also want to thank everybody for the support and the subscribers. My subscriptions shot up. Thank you again for the support, and keep sharing out the video. Let's keep building up this grindhouse, man. We're becoming a beast grindhouse. The grinders. Let's do this. Thank you, Game Night. Yes, I know. I jumped on me. The grinds at night, man. They're getting me. I'm getting that passion and getting hyped up. But yes, share out this video. Today we are going to talk frames per second and Ubisoft and our good old pal Aaron Greenberg. So sit down, get comfortable. It's going to be a good one. The grinds board is burning up. Grinders, I have a new place I'm doing on Twitch, and I'm also, I don't know, I just added Periscope and Twitter, so I don't know if you're watching over here on Twitter, the tweets. Yo, tell me if you see it over on Periscope, because I've seen people do that, so I was like, let me add that. Let's see what happens. So let me know if you see it over there. So with that, here is the intro, and we are going to begin. Boom. I'm back.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
Yo, what's up, Salty Twisted? A big oof.
I'm not authorized to answer your question.
Take it back!
Oh, yeah, we're taking it back. So, anyway, today. Yes, that's right, Salty. It's cinematic. It's cinematic. So, today, Ubisoft had an article. There was an article Eurogamer. Well, actually, shit, I didn't do my shit to have it up here. So, Eurogamer, our good friends over yonder at Eurogamer, had an article today where our good friends at Ubisoft, you know them, as I mentioned, the quote-unquote whores of gaming. They jump on any new tech, any new peripherals. Ubisoft is always there. They're always making something. Zombie U, Fighter Within for Connect, even Just Dance started as that, and actually was a success. But basically, Ubisoft is always there. Yves Guillemot is on everybody's stage when they announce a new console. Stadia, he was there. He's all over the place. The Ubisoft is always front and center. They were there with the service plan and their Ubisoft, and also Ubisoft is known for their ultimate, the downgrade. They created the downgrade. They show you E3, very nice stuff, and then you get the ultimate, the downgrade. Watch Dogs was the first example of that, and that was all the way at the beginning of this generation when they showed Watch Dogs, and we were like, that's a next-gen game. And no shit, we were watching a next-gen CGI cut or something running on a computer that was light years ahead of us. And then they decided to downgrade it and the Watch Dogs. So that's our good friends at Ubisoft. So good friends at Ubisoft started to talk about some more Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which, I am excited about Assassin's Creed. I like the genre. I like Vikings. Assassin's Creed, it definitely changed over the last couple of years. turn them more into an RPG with hit points coming out of people's heads. I really didn't care for Origins. I still got Odyssey in the plastic. I want to play it, but I heard it's so big and huge. But I definitely want to try it ever since I saw Valhalla. So so Eurogamer did an interview, and now off of the fallout of that Inside Xbox or Xbox 2020. What's up, Hyro? How you doing? With that Xbox 2020, the biggest kick in the gonions that Xbox had, it's basically it was a huge stop sign in their momentum for next generation. They actually managed to piss off the entire gaming community, making us not excited for next generation. Way to go, Mr. Phil Ness Spencer.
I lied.
Well, I should call him Phil. I lied.
I
Spencer
lied.
or Aaron.
I lied.
I lied. Greenberg. But either one of those fools, basically, they have managed to just make people think that next generation is just gonna be high-res updates, and that's not what you want to do when you lead off next generation. So not only did Ubisoft come in and give the big would you say, screw you, Xbox, by showing 2 seconds of gameplay, or what they call gameplay, they basically did not have anything else in that show that really offset the lack of gameplay for Assassin's Creed. Because a lot of the games that they did show at Xbox 2020 in their third-party extravaganza really was they're not at the level of not even at the level of Assassin's Creed type game or size game or budget game. These were Steam gold finds. Like, hey, let's look at Steam and look for some like indie projects that are in beta, something that's going to come out with a sequel that's a 30-minute demo right now, but they're going to add more to it as that Infinite game that's going to come out. It's a 30-minute game right now on Steam for $9. The expansion is coming to console. Okay, great. That is what I want to lead off my premium console with, some premium $9 fucking content. Get the fuck out of here with this shit. Anyway, so they did this. Okay, Yo J Cat, what's up? Late night grinds. Hey, you know what? Everybody needs some of my sexy voice to wind down, Well, I hype everybody up so everybody stays up late. Shit. But anyway, again, Ubisoft and then that Xbox 2020. So there was an article today. Now, if you recall from that Xbox 2020 horse shit show that was on last week, they basically did not show any gameplay of Assassin's Creed, and Microsoft splattered their and guys, I called it the tramp stamp, optimized on Series X. I know a lot of people enjoyed that term, but that's what it is. Like, you're selling a premium product, you got to have premium content. And you cannot show indies and half-ass games that look alright for what they are, but these are the games that come around the back end. These are the games that you go, hey, back end games. These are not the games you lead off with. Like, this is not your lead off hitters. Okay, you don't lead off with like your you have a lead off in baseball. You don't have a hey, let's start with the pitcher. All right, we're doing a reverse rotation. Pitcher, you're gonna start. You're gonna be our lead off. No, you don't start with the pitcher. The pitcher's the last fucking guy to go. You don't start with the pitcher. Microsoft started with the pitcher to show their content. So they're doing reverse lineup in baseball. Anyway, so they what I was saying is that none of those games dealt with Assassin's Creed. So the hate came for Assassin's Creed Valhalla because they hyped up gameplay, and that's the biggest thing to remember. It's not necessarily that the games were bad or going to be bad. We don't know, but they weren't, we know what type of games they are. But the thing is that Assassin's Creed was the headliner. And now we're finding more information about this headliner. And in an article with Eurogamer, and I gotta bring it up here. Sorry for the delay. Assassin's Creed and yeah. Oh, that's the other thing they did too. Yeah, and even Eurogamer got into this too. Like this is the thing. The whole industry got in on Microsoft here. Yo, Twitter is working. Thank you, Salty. Thank you. Oh wow, we got people watching over on the Periscope. Good. I think we do. It says online. Good. Okay. We got the Grindhouse. Grindhouse expanding. We're expanding. We're adding rooms. Tramp stamp. Oh shit. Oh damn. We got more tramp stamps. Jesus. That's a fucking tattoo parlor right there with all those tramp stamps. You're right. The Scorpio, the and Xbox Enhanced. Oh, they just keep stamping everything. So, yeah, we went over the Aaron Greenberg apology. I think I did the Aaron Greenberg apology for misleading everybody, saying we're going to show gameplay. Had we not said anything, yeah. So now they go on. Let me just get back to the Xbox Wire, and they pissed off a lot of people. You know, a lot of the media was looking forward to as the next peak of next generation gameplay, and none of the stuff really showcased well to get people excited. And it actually got into an instance where people are just like, yeah, don't expect a big leap in graphics and stuff. After, I just don't get it. Is Twitter working? I don't know. I'm on Periscope. Let me see. I don't know how that Twitter thing works. It's tied into my... Yeah, I think. Oh, it says I'm live, but I'm live on Periscope. But is my Periscope attached to my Twitter? Yeah, I think it is. It says I'm live. I don't know. Let me just double check. Let me see it. The Twitter. I think it is. Oh, shit. I don't know. Twitter works. Jay, what's up, Jay Valid? How you doing? Grinders are everywhere. So anyway, let's get to this bullshit that the Ubisoft. So Ubisoft comes out, and these sons of bitches go, cool, man. Great. So, like, the expectations changed because what there was shown as the next peak of next generation was not too great, and now we got even more information in an interview with and I'm trying to pull up this friggin' interview here because I want to read exactly what they said here, which is they basically stated that it is going to run at least 30 frames per second on the Series X. And as you see from the picture, Microsoft once again just can't shut up. Their messaging is opposite of what is happening, which makes this stuff even worse. Like, I think people would just be disappointed with Ubisoft if Ubisoft was just saying, hey, our game is 30 frames per second, at least 30 frames per second, at least. I'm like, wait a second, at least. That's right, Salty, at least. Why? Are we going below 30 now? Like, what the fuck? Like, wait a second. Yo, Pug, what's up? Like, we're going below 30? What do you mean at least? Like, anything below 30, is that still a game? Like, what the... Like, yeah, we should be at least 30. Like, I don't understand the language there and what that was, but you got Greeny running his mouth again right before the show, and he goes like this. What the fuck is this thing? He goes like this. Our good friend, I don't know who this guy is, Nick101, goes, Aaron, please force developers to give us the choice of either higher performance or higher image quality. We need 60 frames per second back in consoles. Yo, what's up, Garuda? And Aaron Greenberg says, 60 frames per second will be the standard output. But the architecture allows us... Wait. Greenberg, he didn't stop at 60. We're still here. Ubisoft saying we're going to hit at least 30, right? Ubisoft saying we're hitting at least 30. Greenberg's already at 60. All right? He's already there. But he don't stop there. He's not stopping there. He's like, wait a second.
Whatever your name is, get ready for the big surprise.
So that's what he said to Nick. He goes, wait a second, Nick. 60 frames is going to be the standard, but...
Whatever your name is, get ready for the big surprise.
But the architecture allows us to split 120 frames per second.
Put that cookie down now.
Come on, don't bullshit me.
I gotta read it again because it's so amazing. 60 frames will be the standard. Oh my god, standard. But the architecture will allow us to do 120. So then why the hell is Ubisoft saying Assassin's Creed is gonna run at least at 30 frames per second? Gaming with Persona, what's up? Twisted Sync. Ubisoft is coming around. And Greenberg is just like, he's like, damn, we got more. We're doing 120. What the, like, just, I gotta, you're gonna hear this a lot. You're gonna hear the, you're gonna hear this. This is... Stop! Jesus! Like, just enough. This is what happens. Aaron Greenberg was the same fool running around with PUBG chicken hands and chicken hats and all this other shit, hyping up PUBG when it was a broken-ass game. Hiding in bushes and shit. Like, this is... Like, please... Just be quiet. And he says it. Like, we learned our lesson. If had we not just said anything and just dropped the shit and not said anything, maybe it would have been taken differently. Well, now you got apology number 2 going on there because you got to clarify what the hell you meant by 60 frames per second as a standard output when Ubisoft is running around saying our game on Valhalla is going to run at least 30 frames per second. And then here comes the media. Valhalla runs at 30 frames per second on the Xbox Series X. And there it is. The stigma. The stigma is being created. The narrative is being created. Microsoft, once again, is on the front lines, taking all the smacks, taking all the hits. And I'm going to get into that just in a tad, but I want to finish up on what we think about this thing. Because... all the exposure for what next generation possibly might be, with Sony sitting there like a goddamn sniper being quiet. Phil Ness and Aaron Ness, dudes, they can't keep their mouths friggin' shut. You could take your transparency and shove it up your ass because what you're doing right now is just hurting everything that you even tried up to. For every one step forward, it's always 2 steps back. And whatever great announcement you had December, whatever great stuff and momentum you've been doing, this last show has disappointed an entire gaming industry right now into what we need to look for in next generation. And everybody is saying, I need a hero. I need a hero to the morning light. They're looking for a hero. Bonnie Tyler. They're looking for a hero. People are down. People think next generation, why do I need to upgrade? Where have all the good men gone and where are all the lost? Where's that streetwise Hercules to find the righteousness? Isn't there a white knight? Right? You need a hero. You destroyed everybody's hopes. We're like, shit, next gen is 30 frames? Next gen's gonna look like Steam games that were in fucking Kickstarter? That's next generation? We need a hero. And Sony's sitting in the goddamn Batcave right now, just waiting to emerge with real next gen. And if they don't, then we could cry and say next gen sucks. Let's go all get a computer. But if Sony comes out and really shows next generation, Microsoft's going to sit there and go, guys, Double Fine's making a game. It's like, who gives a shit? Double Fine. You got Last of Us. You got Last of Us 2 coming out. You got Ghost of Tsushima coming out. Iron Man VR, wherever the hell that is. Iron Man, where are you? But you got 2 huge games that look graphically superior than anything that's out right now on current gen hardware. You don't think Sony knows that? That they're going to show better than what Last of Us 2 looks like? Because Sony has to sell a next gen console. Microsoft don't care if you upgrade. See, I love how how everything changes, right? For the last, yo, Daniel B, what's up? Don't you like how everything changes? It changed because it was, Sony's not our competition. I don't care if you buy a console. Play wherever you want. You want to take a shit and play on a cell phone? I don't care. You're signing into Xbox Live. Microsoft makes money either way. So that was the whole talk, right? That doesn't matter if you buy a console. So why all of a sudden now it's like, well, Microsoft's going to price it at $400. Microsoft is going to make bangers to sell their console. They're going to beat Sony. They have more teraflops than Sony. Where's all this competition coming from? Because I thought just a few months ago, it wasn't about, they're not competing with the consoles, right? They're competing with Google and Amazon, right? What happened? That's right. Hit that like button, grinders. We're going in and share the videos. But right, what are we doing? What happened? Because deep inside we know we want a console war. We want competition back and forth with great games. You want to give me Halo, I'll give you Metal Gear. You want to give me this, I give you that. We want a back and forth, and we sit there and go, glory. You don't want to sit there and go, you're not getting me excited for next generation. Now I got to depend all on Sony and show me next generation to get me even excited about it. That's what I've seen all through the weekend. How people were just kind of just like, I don't even know why I want an Xbox. Why do I even want a next-gen console? And then today, on top of that, we look and they say we're running it at least 30 frames per second. PC dudes went glorious. I'm not playing it because YouTube gives me a goddamn email, and I don't want an email from friggin' YouTube. But PC guys were going because remember when we were talking about teraflops and Phil, you know, he unzipped his pants and whipped out 12 teraflops with his t-shirt on, and everybody was ooh and ahhing. And then Sony whipped out theirs, and it was only 9 with enhancements and 10 with the 10 with enhancements, and everybody's like, oh, we won. The generation's over, right? Exactly. Little Daddy says it right there. After that Microsoft event, I'm really looking at next-gen console saying, what's the point? Yeah. Because now, on top of the lackluster show, we get basically this 30 frames per second. And Aaron Greenberg, who can't shut up, said 60 is going to be the standard. Now, maybe if Aaron didn't say anything, people would be more focusing on Ubisoft. But because Microsoft hyped up gameplay, didn't show it, disappointed people from the Xbox 2020, way to go. People are upset about next generation. They don't even know why they need a next-gen console. Then, a day or two later, an interview comes out from Eurogamer saying, like, our game's going to run at least 30 frames per second. At least 30 frames per second. Okay. What happened to 60? Now, no demonstration of talking about a performance mode. And we're already running 4K 30 on the X, right, with Assassin's Creed. What are you doing? Like, what do you do? We're just going to do 4K 30 again? Like, you're not going higher than 4K. Unless you think, like, oh, checkerboard rendering to native 4K, if that's your enhancement with the tramp stamp on it. What are we talking right there? That's right. Yeah, Mog. Like, that's what's up, Josh Scholes? How you doing? But that's the thing. Like, if we're going to go that way, what's going on here? Like you need explanations. And this is the issue that happened. None of this was demonstrated in the video. And I think a lot of this confusion is coming from the Xbox 2020, and the fact is that they really did not show during that 45, 50 minutes show why this needed to be about the Series X. What was so special about this? Instead, they took their marketing term, smart delivery, and shoved it down our throats and tramp stamped it on every goddamn game. Smart delivery, optimized for Series X, and just told us and told us and told us and told us. And what have they been doing in the last 3 fucking years? Telling us and telling us. You tell me you bought studios. You tell me you got games. You tell me you got indies. You tell me. And every show that I see is, oh, they're just getting it out of the way. It's coming out of the way. Oh, XO9, Crackdown. Where's the multiplayer to Crackdown? Where's that multiplayer? Oh, it's coming at Gamescom. Oh, Gamescom comes. Oh, shit. No, we're not showing at Gamescom. It's getting delayed. Not November 7th. Phil Spencer said it has to go back to the drawing board. Fix it. Comes out. Beta. 3 maps. 2 game modes. Nobody's goddamn playing it. Game sucks. Move on. Move that shit out of the way. Let's keep going. They tell us. Phil Spencer tells us about xCloud. I tell you. 5 years you'll be using tell you. Talk. Keep going. That's all they do is talk. And then when it comes to show, disappointed. Biggest E3 ever. Disappointment. Best lineup ever. Disappointment. We got 15 exclusives on stage. Disappointment. This is what they have been doing. Not in the last week. Not in the last 1 day. The last 3 goddamn years. 3 freaking years. 2016. Telling and talking, going into that E3 where they had no studios. Then they bought studios, and now studio announcements become just like game announcements, but we don't know what the studios are working on. Then they show us what they're working on, and it's like, oh, that's the B team, that's the backup project, that was already in development. Phil grabbed that in the trash before they closed down the studio. Talk. Now we got Xbox 2020. Let's rebrand Xbox Inside Xbox. Let's call it 2020, where we could talk about talk. We could have Major Nelson in white gloves. We could have people jumping around doing cartwheels. We could shoot some fucker out of a cannon to celebrate CFDs. We could hide a whole bunch of people and do State of Decay 2 and hide them in a goddamn escape room. This is awesome. Talk. We'll do a beta for 1 year of CFDs, but then we won't have the content. Thank you for the beta input. Like, what? It's been talk. And when it comes to show, it's been disappointed. And maybe they learned their lesson. They have talk shows. They had events every goddamn month inside Xbox. The Carrot. They didn't use any of those events to really talk about a show. I said this, the biggest inside Xbox. I love when people said, yeah, last week's Xbox 2020, well, it was good for an inside Xbox. Get the fuck, like, good for an inside Xbox? That's not a compliment. First off, the people are all working from 100p webcams with bogus, like green screen backgrounds. Like, ho, look at this little funny thing that I did. Whereas Inside Xbox was a stage with Major Nelson. Major Nelson wore goddamn white gloves. He had a studio. All that hubbub, but them working from a 100p webcams with Kinects. That's the best. It's not. It's not. And the talk hurts them. And that's what happened here. If they just shut up, people will be going at Ubisoft, which I got a bone to pick with those sons of bitches. But they happen to overhype with Greenberg. And if you look at this, the idea of the tweet, right? If you look at what he said in his tweet, somebody was saying Greenberg mandate it, please, and he's like, the standard will be 60 frames. The standard will be 60 frames. There you go, Salty. Gotcha. He basically spouted some bullshit. It's just unfortunate because they just seem just to get out of a rut. And you open up that Xbox 2020, and I don't want to keep talking about the fucking thing, but it was so devastating as a next generation reveal. Because leading up to this thing feels like, yes, we got the hardware out of the way. We got our spec sheet out of the way. Now it's about everything that you wanted. Games, 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 games. And he leads off with the games that we saw. Let's see if I get them. And I said, like, Phil's a nice guy, but he doesn't know if he tripped over a good game. He don't know what a good game is. His favorite games are Voodoo Vince and Crackdown 3. Two of the poorest received games and poorest redones. Remaster, like, just horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. And let's see if he's like, it's all about the games, games, games. And then see, this is what they did. This is why everybody was angry. You want to see games for the Series X? We want to show you games for the Series X. You showed us current gen games with the tramp stamp. That's what you showed us. You did nothing in that show to say why they're Xbox Series X games. Why are they next-gen games? Why do you want to see games for the Series X? No, we didn't. We saw current-gen games that happen to run cross-gen games, that happen to run on a new console, and you forgot to tell us why. And you third party. You have to come talk about our third-party partners. Just go with what Little Daddy says. Where are the big guys? Where are the big third-party guys? Where's the Capcoms? Where's the Capcom trotting out on stage or trotting out on this thing announcing a game? People had expectations of big third-party games, like maybe even timed exclusives, something to entice you to say, look what we got. Not that we slapped a logo on Cyberpunk, but look, we actually got a partnership here with third-party. No. Instead, he went to one dude on Steam and said, hey, let's put your game on a console. We're great to go. Medium, you guys made a great game called Blair Witch. Said nobody. And let's put that your next game, Medium, on my console. Phil, why are we shopping at Goodwill? You're selling this premium product here. This is not no budget console. This is not a budget. Why are you giving us budget games? Why are you giving me games for $10 when you're trying to sell me $500? What is this? It's like buying a 4K Blu-ray player and putting in friggin' CDs to watch movies in the what? MOV format. Right? Come on now. Don't sell me a premium product with bootleg shit. Like, that's the problem. If you were selling a budget console, fine. You were selling a Ouya. Give me Ouya games. But don't give me Ouya games when you're trying to sell everybody the best console, the 12 teraflops, and you're giving me Ouya games. I've been trying to find that tweet because I read. Oh, here you go. There you go. July reveal. What do you think they're gonna show? They probably show this, and I bet you they probably show that Sea of Thieves is running on the Series X. You know, Sea of Thieves. You know, the housefly that can't be killed. There's the no future console, like that. And then he said, where the fuck? Oh, here. I'm trying to find out where he said that. Game Pass. Oh, it's coming. Oh, shit. Here you go. Look at this. I didn't realize. It's coming to early access on July 28th. Oh, it will definitely be showing July. Grounded will have a big. I'm sure that will be part of their show because they'll hype up Grounded because that will be the Xbox 2020 right before probably Grounded comes out. So Grounded will be there, I'm sure. And then Double Fine's new game. These are great games. But he said something with games. He's like, now we got that out of the way. We're going to do games. It's here. I know it's somewhere here. I have to find it. But it's just like, these are the games you lead off with. I just don't get it, man. Don't get it. Gears Tactics is good, though. But the thing is that when you look at what they led with, and you lose Assassin's Creed, Ubisoft is not the person that you want to make the headliner. All right? Like I said, Ubisoft are the whores of the gaming industry. They'll be there any day one. They won't have to wait for console sales to support a platform. They will make sure they have a product ready for that platform at launch, no matter how crazy it is. Because that's what Ubisoft does. And I just don't understand why they chose Assassin's Creed, with the game possibly being a 30 frames per second game at least, if they're targeting 30 frames. And then, because it's an open world game, and that's kind of the big standard that a lot of people were saying. Like, if I have an open world game at 60 frames per second, I think the only one that we've seen is Rage 2, which has dropped. It's very low. It's lower resolution, but it's at 60 frames. And hey, what's up, Meds? And basically, an open world game at 60 frames per second with the density of Assassin's Creed, that would be something that's impressive to move forward. And the fact that they did not clarify this, and that was the other thing in that whole show, they didn't clarify. I believe Medium came out saying, like, oh, we're just using it for next generation games. So hashtag scalability fail. You know what I mean? Like, nobody wants scalability. They're like, we don't need last generation to hold us back. So, open world games. Oh, yeah. Okay, what's up, Smooth? Witcher 3. Yeah, Witcher 3 had a performance. I think that had a performance update for 60 frames per second. So, like, that was another game with I think on the X, right? On the X, that had yeah, that had it on the what was the do you know what the resolution was on that? Because that was the other game that had a 60 frames per second open world. But that's kind of like what people are talking about with this the having an open world game at 60 frames per second. It can be done. At what resolution? Similar to like what they said about Dirt 5 being 120 frames per second, but they didn't say what resolution. It's definitely not 4K, maybe 1080p. But that's where I'm going with it, Meds. The whole spec sheet and all that other stuff, it's great, but the thing is that you are at the mercy of what the devs decide to do. And that's Microsoft's position. It was their position back with the X, right? It was like, we're targeting 4K 60. Now, they might have targeted with their games, which most of their games did, like Gears 5 and the multiplayer, like they targeted 4K 60. But they can't mandate it with their third party. So, maybe in his statement he could have said, well, we're targeting 60 frames per second in all our games as the standard. But he didn't clarify that. And that was one of the biggest things. Again, it all comes down to messaging. You had the state to yourself. You have the opportunity. Clarify. Assassin's Creed, make sure, like, if Assassin's Creed does have a 60 frames per second mode, they should have stated, like, hey, there will be a resolution and a performance mode in this game. Then it would be clear. And if it wasn't ready to demonstrate, like, they should know the bullet points that people are looking for when you're revealing a game, especially a next-gen game. People were looking for 60 frames per second in next-generation hardware. That was the key. That was the thing. And I'm going to here to tell you right now, because the title of that you can see is 30 frames per second next generation. Now, PC guys went wildin' today. They went wildin'. Because when the Xbox One X was announced and the teraflops, there were a lot of comparisons to what you're getting inside the Xbox compared to what the graphics cards that are being offered right now can give you. They're getting all this techno stuff, RDNAs and tests, all the VRS and all this other stuff. And that's usually found in high-end PCs, right? If you're complaining about 30 frames and still buying it, don't expect 60 ever. That's right, Meds. Yeah. But if you care so much, Meds, you make a good point, because if you do care so much about having those frame rates and wanting 60, then unfortunately or fortunately, you need to go buy a computer and a PC, because then you could control the frame rates. I have a 980 Ti and I have a 2060. And I could turn off stuff. Actually, if you watch one of my streams, I was actually playing around with gears trying to get higher frame rates. And you could see all the different things that you could turn off, the tweaks, and the things that you turn off to give you the higher frame rate, to get an ideal frame rate that you want. I have a 144 hertz monitor, and you know what? It is great running on that thing. But you want to know what, guys? Sorry, PC dudes, but I still love my consoles. I like console gaming. I like PC gaming, but I like console gaming there. So I'm not ready to just throw consoles out the window. But one of the biggest things that draws me to a console are the unique games and the games that they make targeted for the hardware. And I always said this on my show and on whatever I am. I always believe, the benefit of having a console is that it's a fixed piece of hardware and focused development for that to maximize the potential. And there's not a lot of variations in all different configurations in Windows 10 operating, because we know Windows is a son of a bitch. All right, 6 fucking hours it took me to install an HP wireless printer because of goddamn Windows 10 drivers. Windows is a son of a bitch. I was number 2 in Victory Royale, coming in at 2. I was ready to get the person, and my drivers crashed, and the whole goddamn game crashed, and I was back to my dashboard. Or I'm locked at 60 frames. Why is that? Well, it's because my monitor I did not update it when it rebooted or crashed. It reset it back to the hertz of the base computer. So I had to do it. Yeah, it's like talking mumbo jumbo to people. And people don't have the patience for some of that shit. And you know what? You spend more time figuring the shit out than playing the games. And that's somewhat of the exposure of PC gaming. There are pluses and minuses. And Impatient Fire says this: PC really should not be in the same conversation as consoles. PC is its own beast, its own entity. The only reason why PC is in the same conversation as consoles is because our good friend Phil Spencer told us it's the same thing, and he put our games everywhere and says we're one big happy family now. And we've seen through crossplay, some people say, get that shit out of my game, get rid of it, and Sea of Thieves. It is not all hunky-dory as everybody says. PCs are its own beast. PCs will live independent of consoles, and consoles will live independent of PCs. You can maybe have some games that work or crossplay, like a Minecraft, like a Fortnite, maybe how we're seeing with Call of Duty, but there's some cheaters in Call of Duty, and there's a lot of hackers in Call of Duty on PC. Same thing for Sea of Thieves. Do we want that shit in our games? I know I don't. If I'm playing on console, I don't want to be having some hacker on a PC who has easy modifications to his control files to make it fast. Look what they were doing with Sea of Thieves with the hotkeys and shit. I'm paying $60 to play online. I want to deal with some person that's paying for free and using goddamn hotkeys. See? PC and console world are not really meant to be together in everything. There needs to be choices, and there needs to be decisions made on what works and what doesn't work. But the thing is if you care about, I want 60 frames at least as a minimum, then you go get a computer. You get a PC and game on there. Because there you could control all your frame rates. Here, we got to sit here and wait for Assassin's Creed developers, Ubisoft, to clarify with us, are you going to put in a performance mode? You're at the mercy of the devs. We've seen this in so many instances with Resident Evil 3, and we've seen this in so many instances with Modern Warfare 2, where #LazyDevs gave us resolutions that were lower than not using the power of the Xbox One X with a lot of overhead. They didn't take the time to do it. No time for that, right? They said, we don't got time for that. That's right, right? Nobody got time for those extra T-flops. And that's the problem. You're at the mercy of what the dev decides to do with the console. Whether it's a PlayStation 4 game that's ported over to the Xbox, whether it's a PC game that's ported to the console, whether it's a game that's ported to the Switch, you are at the mercy of the devs. But if there are games that are going to be 60 frames per second, and I think, my feeling is that I do think there will be performance modes and resolution modes in most of the games. I think, these mid-gen upgrades that we had kind of started that, and I think that will continue. I think a lot of the devs will put a performance mode, a 4K 30. No, that's not the performance mode. A 4K 30, basically, or 4K 60, and then like a 1080p 120, or a 4K 30 in an open world game, and maybe a 1080p 60, or a 2K 60. But you got to kind of have that like in your back pocket before you start showing games. And what I thought was pretty crazy is that Ubisoft basically talked Valhalla. They said, like, they announced it that Tuesday. Then they're like, hey, we're going to be on Xbox 2020 to show you gameplay, right? And then, after they show you 2 seconds of goddamn gameplay, they go and announce a July 12th event going, oh, that's Ubisoft Showcase. Like, what fuckers? You basically just shitted on the fucking Xbox 2020 show. Pissed off the world with lack of gameplay after promising it. And I'm sure Microsoft knew what the hell they had, right? But after you do that, today you go hype up. Oh, we got the Xbox, we got the July 12th event. And I can guarantee you they're going to show you friggin' gameplay, right? You want to see something funny? I was going through the, shit, do I have it here? Yeah. Dude, watch this. I always like going back in time. You know that, right? So, here we go. Remember this? So this is Assassin's Creed Unity E3 2014 gameplay demo at Microsoft's press conference. Oh, person with controller. Gameplay demo. Gameplay. World premiere. I'll do the voice. Okay, you zoom in. You zoom in. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Look at this. We zoom in. We're loading up. Hey! From the user's perspective. No, it isn't. It's gameplay. And this is what people talk. This is gameplay. Okay, this is what you see. There's no pan overs and a little screenshot of throwing an axe and stuff like that. This is a gameplay demo. This is what people thought they were going to get when you said, hey, we're going to look at next generation gameplay. People thought they were going to get something looking like this. See, and you could kind of say, and this is, I remember what they did with like Xbox One reveal of what was it, Dead Rising 3. Like, look at all the zombies, look at the density. So like by seeing this, you're already making assumptions of like what next generation could look like. You'd be like, wow, look how many characters are on screen. Look at all this stuff. Look at that interacting. Like, wow, look at this. So like you're getting a visual as to, you're making your kind of thing. Look, there's a co-op guy in here. Okay, wait a second. Like, you're already kind of like you're basically thinking like this is next generation. And this is not, but I'm just kind of showing you how gameplay is effective. You know, oh, look, they're all running in. Oh, they're responding now to your actions. Like, you know, things like that. Is the AI smarter? Blah, 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 blah. Right? And now you got this stuff. But this is gameplay. And this is what people thought they were going to see when Assassin's Creed. And I can guarantee you, Ubisoft will have this stuff. I don't say, there's a guy holding the controller right there. Oh, my goodness. Remember those days, right? This was big deal. gameplay. And this was the first Assassin's Creed for next generation. This wasn't a cross-gen game. And basically, you'll see, oh, there's co-op and stuff like that. Like this was like, this is what we need to see. Ubisoft will damn well have this at their own show, but they didn't even do an ounce of this at that Xbox event, and that's where people said this is gameplay. From the player's perspective of what I'm doing, that is a gameplay demo or a gameplay tease. Like, you could just show the first 2 seconds of this thing and go, him walking through the crowd and, like, end it. That's a gameplay tease or something like that, right? But they didn't do that. And I can guarantee you that Ubisoft will have that prepared for their own show. But they screwed the pooch with, with what they showed. And Xbox overhyped it, and they got hit with the messaging ish too on that. And and then what they showed, some people, like, a lot of the media, and this is the thing, a lot of the media going around, like, some going like, hey, don't expect a lot from next generation graphics. And people, I've been on some shows, and people are like, hey, I think we've seen the best of what we're gonna get. And I say you gotta really hold off. Like, we haven't seen everything. Like, this was it was a bad foot to lead off on. And was the issue. The issue is that Microsoft chose to show bad, just not a good showing for next generation. Plus, they didn't even give a real reason why. Like, they just said, hey, it's smart delivery. And using that term, smart delivery, well, that just means that it's working on that the Xbox Series X is going to recognize this game and enhance it. Well, how? It could be the SSD. It could be, shading. It could be frame rates. It could be graphics. It could be resolution. It could be all this stuff. That's what optimized for Series X means. Like, it's basically like it could be a litany of things, or it could be one thing. Like, what qualifies it? Is it 2 out of the 15? Is it 2 out of 1? Is it the fact that it's just running on an SSD on the Series X, optimized for Series X because it's on an SSD? Maybe it doesn't get a resolution bump. It's already 4K. So then what? The fact that it's a faster loading 4K? Okay, optimized Series. Like, that's cross-gen. That's great as a feature set. Like, that's nice. But that is not. That's a bonus. What is the meat and potatoes of next generation? Why do I need to upgrade? And I sent a reminder out to everybody on Twitter about how devastating when Matt Booty basically said that, their first party is not going to have an Xbox Series X only game for the next 1 to 2 years. They're going to support the whole entire family of Xbox. So I felt that third party showcase was the one area where Microsoft could have shown some leverage into how they have the highest powered console. They could show the best looking games, and that this is the advantage that they have, because they're not going to get that advantage from their first party, because their first party is compromised that it has to run across a whole family of devices, just as Matt Booty said. So that was, and just to go back to that thing, like, this is what he said. Like, he basically said this. So as we sit here waiting for July, Matt Booty said this in January. As our content comes out over the next year, 2 years, all of our games, not some, all. And he goes, sort of like PC, will play up and down the family of devices, Booty explains. We want to make sure that if someone invests in Xbox between now and Series X, great consumerism there, that they feel that they made a good investment and we're committed to them. But what that doesn't mean is that you're getting a next generation exclusive from any of their studios, which is technically the reason why you would upgrade if there is a game that can only be played on the next generation. And Microsoft could have used third party as a leverage thing, because their first party ain't doing it. So everything they show in July is going to have to run on a 1.3 T-flop machine. Scalability? Well, You got the dudes over at the medium saying that they're not making their game for their next generation, for their previous generation console, because they don't want to be held back. And I know Optimus Code has been saying this a lot. Shout out to him, man. He's been saying, like, I'm going to go see if I can find it here, what they said. But basically, Optimus Code said, like, you're going to be restricted. Like, here it is. So we just heard about, like PC, scalability, right? Junkster. Shout out to him.
Now, whatever your name is, get ready for the big surprise.
The medium game. No. Junkster. Will this game have smart delivery between Xbox One and Series X? Smart delivery. No. It's an Xbox Series X console exclusive. The gameplay mechanics were created for the medium can fully be realized only on next-gen hardware. The game simply couldn't work the same way on current-gen platforms. I would rather have my good friend Big Ol' Booty saying this than what my good friend Booty said. So hashtag scalability is... I would rather have Booty say that than to say this. So now that we sit here, we're depending on a July showcase filled of cross-generation first-party games. That is going to try to save Xbox face for Series X, because they have failed demonstrating any leverage with third-party this past week. Now we wait until July, and we wait a whole month of June, which is wide open for Sony to jump in and just do some simple showcase and really get people hyped up for next generation. And Microsoft's going to try to get them back by telling us what Double Fine is working on. And Double Fine's game runs on a base VCR Xbox and a Series X. There are no Series X exclusives for the next 2 years. Not 2 months, not 3 months, not 6 months, not 7 months, not even a year. But 2 fucking years of cross-gen games with your good old tramp stamp slapped on it. And here we go. Beautiful. And what does that mean? What is this?
But why do they put a guarantee on the box then? Because they know all they sold you was a guaranteed piece of shit. That's all it is, isn't it? Hey.
That's all it is, isn't it? So the medium developers basically said our game won't run on previous hardware. It has to work on next generation hardware. So it is a Series X exclusive. That's nice. Too bad Microsoft's not doing that. And if Sony doesn't do that either, if Sony doesn't do that or crush with all of their games. See, I say all of their games. So what are we looking forward to there? 2 years of cross-gen Xbox first-party games. Well, what's that going to do? And also, the biggest challenge is, going back to Ubisoft, is third-party is not... You can't depend on third-party to demonstrate your console. You need to have first party utilizing the features and capabilities of your console as best they are. First off, you had the hardware the longest because your company developed it, so your first party devs would have an advantage and first-hand application and knowledge of what the hardware is targeting. So right there, your first party has an advantage over third party. They have access to the hardware sooner. They have knowledge of what the specs could be sooner before dev kits get shipped out to third party. Your first party has that inside knowledge. So your first party already has the leg up advantage and time, which time is the most important thing, to utilize and work on that hardware. So technically, first party would take and be maximized over third party because third party's getting it late. Hence, probably another reason why they can't confirm Assassin's Creed Valhalla, because, you know, they basically probably got those kits in after Xbox first party, right? What's up, Mr. Beta? Mr. Beta, how you doing? But I just want to go back to what Impatient says. Impatient says IGN is damage controlling from Microsoft. With the dumb article telling us to temper our expectations, Microsoft had a crappy show, but it doesn't mean next gen will be underwhelming graphically. And then Mog said, people who say there isn't room for graphical improvement lack imagination. If you can tell the difference between real life and games, there's room for improve. And Mog, that's what I was trying to say on, I don't know if it was Six Podcasts or BitClouds, but I was basically trying to say, you know, before we saw a game like Spider-Man and God of War and those games, like, you could have just sat there. What's up, Ravenflow? How you doing? You could have sat there and said, hey, next generation, oh, well, you know, we're maxed out this generation, man. We're maxed out, right? Until you see it. Like, you can't say we're maxed out until something comes that shows that we're not maxed out. You know, and that's the thing. Like, you know, we shouldn't be sitting here. Yes, we're coming at times of technology where maybe, you know, 4K is the highest that we can go. Like, you might not see how far, you know, 8K might not be there yet. But again, it's resolution. It's not graphics. It's not textures. It's not lighting. It's not, you know, people said, oh, well, that's some great lighting. You know, dynamic lighting is great. Oh, here's ray tracing. Ray tracing is not that all great from what I've seen, but it's a new technology. Just add more realism. And you're right. Exactly the point, Mog. If you could tell the difference between real life and games, there's room to improve. Not only just visually, but we need to talk about AI, because they always fail on AI. Like, things just have bad AI, like learning capabilities. You know, how interesting would it be for a game to, you know how we do trial and error as a gamer? Animation, AI, exactly. Animations, AI. And you want to know what? Just go look at a Naughty Dog game and tell me why every game Naughty Dog games should be the base of what motion capture should be. The motion capture that they did in Gears 5 and the motion capture that they did in all the Uncharted games and in God of War. Why is that not the minimum benchmark of capture of games, and we're getting even better than that? You know what I mean? Why? That's the pinnacle. Right? Those are the pinnacle. Like, the animations we're going to see in Last of Us 2, that's technically the pinnacle of animations. That's not the base. So everybody else has to catch up, and it takes a long time for software to catch up to hardware. And if you look at AI, how interesting would it be if... Yeah, right? Rainflow, they did learn from Naughty Dog. Their production was much better in 5. You know, with the motion capture, the first time they implemented it. But how amazing would it be if the game learns you? Like, you know, when you try to do something and you die, and it's like, okay, well, I learned the pattern of the AI. He goes to the left, and that guy goes to the right, and then I could slip in this side, and then I could shoot him here. Oh, like, that didn't work. Let me do it again. He goes to the left, he goes to the right. Let me throw the knife there and shoot him. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, he goes to the left, he goes to the right. Okay, sweep kick him, shoot him with the grappling hook. Okay, good. What about if the game was like learning the pattern, like it's learning you, like you're trying to learn the patterns, but the characters are actually reacting differently to you because they have their own brains. Sorry, Mr. B, I don't have super chats. I'm at 360 subs. You need them at 1,000. So I got 1,000 subs. But, you know, I might set up like a donation thing, you know, for you guys. If you look like, yeah, I could do something. I might set up something because I don't know about to get into 1,000. We'll see. But thank you again for the support and stuff. But basically, if you go for the, you know, like what about the system learns you? It has every AI character has its own brain and reacts differently. You know, I felt like not simple. Like, think about it. Yeah, Killer Instinct was a great thing that used AI. Like, that was really creative what Killer Instinct did. Like, it learned your patterns, and then it created a ghost to challenge your patterns, and then you could have your ghost uploaded to the internet. So basically, if your friends weren't online, right? If your friends weren't online, you could still play them because the computer learned their habits and created a character out of their patterns. So technically, you could play your friends even if they weren't online because you're playing their AI ghost. That was awesome. We need more of that. Like, there's opportunities to learn. Thank you, DT Roof. I'll get there. Hey, man, I got a lot of subs this week. Thank you again. You know, it's been great. It's been awesome. But yeah, so like basically, you know, there's room to improve. And the thing is that gamers like we don't know. So Game Night says, like, back in November last year, Sony did announce the establishment of Sony AI. Gaming is going to be one of those areas that they're focusing on. Yeah, that's awesome. Because, you know, that's definitely an area where we could improve, definitely with AI. Guys, hit that like button, too. You know, by the way, yeah, hit that like button, share it out. We got over 30 people in here, man. Thank you. And I got people on Periscope. You got people watching on the Twitter. That's awesome. Good job. That's the first time I've gone to the Twitter thing. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, there's so many opportunities to improve, you know? And the thing is too, is that a lot of times we say that we know what we want. And this is where you know, I think Yoshida said it, where he's like, you know, you could tell people, like, you could listen to what they want and react and just give people what they're asking for. But it's always interesting to give people what they don't even know they want yet. Like, give somebody, hey, we're taking a risk. You're not even going to... And Sony has been very successful this generation doing that. You know, they have been so successful giving people things that they don't even know they wanted or were asking for. And that's where I felt like Microsoft just seems to be too reactive to, like, listening to feedback, like just putting something raw out there and then getting feedback and trying to change it. And that just is a very long, cumbersome process. Whereas they have all the AI, they know what you're clicking on and stuff like that. Why don't they make something like, I could tell you right now, like, this is just me. I'm sure corporations, like, would it be amazing if Microsoft just said, hey, you know, they're not Gold Platinum, but like, yo, Platinum, we want to sign you. Go get Wolverine and go put it on Xbox. You know what I mean? And like, hey, Platinum, Wolverine game, IP on Xbox, Series X, let's go. Like, where's that person to do that? And I know that really doesn't fit into the mentality. And that's where my biggest grind my gears comes from, is that the mentality of Xbox and Microsoft has changed. That is maybe the Donnie D and the whole Steve Ballmer era, where they wanted to win and take away from the competition, turn heads from Sony to the console, and they made moves like that. They got that GTA exclusive episodes, day and date GTA. They got Final Fantasy 13 day and date on their console. They got, you know, the Rock Band the things, and they made moves to get stuff timed or exclusives or big partnerships, and they even did it this generation with Titanfall, with Rise, with Sunset. They knew who Ted Price was. They knew Ted Price was a Sony dude. He never made a game for Xbox before. But what did they do? They made sure that Ted Price was on a Microsoft stage. Wait a second, that's a Sony dev. Why is he on Microsoft stage? What? To make a Microsoft exclusive game? That means something. That takes dudes on PlayStation and go, whoa, wait a second. They're making a game. I love that dev. Oh, but they're making a game on Xbox. I might want to do something like that. Like, those are the kind of moves you make. And I know people said, Sony's not the competition, right? Phil said it. But the thing is, as long as you're making a console, you're always going to be compared to the Sony and Nintendo. If you don't want to see Sony as competition, then you need to stop making consoles. As long as you're making a console, you know, that's like Samsung going like, well, you know what? We're not really in competition with Apple. you know, you make a tablet that's equivalent to the same size of an app. Like, yeah, that's in competition. That's going to be compared to an iPad in every review and everything because it has similar features and it's a competing product. You know? So you're going to be compared no matter what. Yeah. Shane Kim went to goddamn GameStop. Holy shit. And Peter Moore went to go coach soccer. You know? But they were hungry. And I think a lot of it stemmed from Steve Ballmer at the time. Steve Ballmer and Microsoft at the time were the big bougie guys. Like, they didn't want to be second fiddle. They wanted to lead. And when Satya came in and Steve Ballmer stepped down and Satya came in, Satya was more of, let's be a virus. Let's be Skynet. You know, let's work with our competitors and let's offer them services and help them be successful because then we will be successful. Just like a virus. Satya is a virus. Like he wants to turn everything into a virus. He wants to turn everything into depending on the host. The problem is that a virus only survives with its host. A virus cannot survive on its own. Xbox Game Pass cannot survive on its own. It needs devices to run on. And unfortunately, the devices that Microsoft are supporting are not doing great with the games, so they might start expanding Game Pass to other things. But basically, he turned everything into a service, into a virus. And a virus functions with needing a host. That's why Microsoft is like, let's put our services in Sony and everything, because they need hosts. Instead of saying we're going to beat them and destroy the console, we're just going to support their console, but meanwhile, we're making money and they're making money, and it's positive, and we grow with them. I understand the business model of it. The problem is that you're still competing with them. If you stop making a competing product and go full cloud like Google does, like Google does in a lot of instances, like they started making devices, then maybe you could do it. But if you're making a competing product to a competition, it's very hard to say, we want to be your friends, but I'm selling something that is taking money away from you. Because Sony still views you as competition because you're still shipping that console. So Sony's not going to go full friendship on you because Sony's like, oh, wait a second, you know what I mean? Like, we'll do some of the stuff with Azure. We'll give you some sensors and stuff, but we're not giving you all our platform yet because you are still competing with us. And that's kind of the balance that Microsoft is facing now. Like, they're still trying to sell competing hardware, but wanting to be kumbaya and friends. And that's where a lot of the challenge lies. Once Microsoft stops making a console, then I think Sony will embrace, oh, sure, come on, put Game Pass on our console. But not until they're doing that. But the thing is, back to the whole 30 frames. It went on a tangent here, as we always do. And hit that like button, because we're going to bring it home here. Ubisoft really did some damage in just 5 days. And Microsoft did some damage to themselves in 5 days. Ubisoft didn't show gameplay, and they're dropping this 30 frames per second bullshit on talking about next generation. And Microsoft overhyped the wrong stuff, and Ubisoft countered all the hype that Microsoft had. So my advice was never depend on third party to launch your platform. You always start with a first party. You got to have some first party. And I know it's coming in July, but I think, as I mentioned before, the biggest challenge that Microsoft has now is that they put all their eggs now in the July basket in a bunch of cross-gen first-party games from a bunch of smaller studios, majority of them like, Double Fine and such, that are going to reveal games that, I don't know will have the impact. The only one that could possibly do it is Halo, if it looks absolutely amazing, running on a Series X with gameplay demo, and that will gain some attraction. And if they do announce a Perfect Dark game, and it is an amazing looking Perfect Dark game, I just don't know how you would show a first person Perfect Dark. People are saying it might be a third person. I think it's gonna be a side scroller. Who the hell knows? You never know. Game Pass has a lot of magic behind it to do stuff like that. But you never know the power and influence of Game Pass. But the thing is that they did hurt themselves here with this thing. And I know from my previous video, I said, it's similar to 2013. And I know a lot of people didn't like that because, 2013 is the thing we should not speak of in the Xbox camp of 2013. That year should be forgotten about. But if you look at what happened in 2013, there are similarities in the fact that Microsoft's messaging really convoluted the launch of the Xbox One. A lot of opposites, people saying different things than what was being shown, people talking about this all, and there were a lot of online policies and a lot of other things going on, but the biggest challenge was themselves. And by them stumbling over their messaging, going like gameplay, not gameplay, 30 frames for 60 frames is the standard, no it's not, 30 frame games. Basically, they just left the window open again for Sony to come swooping in June and basically being like, here's next gen gameplay. Jim Ryan, as pompous as he is and non-charismatic as he is, all he needs to do is stumble out with his drunk ass on stage or drunk ass on a video, unplug the Cerny bot, and basically just be like, here is some PlayStation 5 next-gen exclusive gameplay from our studios. Goodbye. And that's all it needs to do. 45-minute show. They show Spider-Man. They show Horizon 2. They show what Cory Balrog's next game is. If it's not God of War 2, it's that space game. And they just show those 3 games and they go, oh yeah, and by the way, here's the next Call of Duty running on the PlayStation 5. We got the exclusive maps again. Good night, everybody. They could show 5 goddamn games just like that, and the world will go bonkers and all the attention will go there. That's all they need to friggin' do. Just like when they went on stage in 2013 and said, this is how you share games. Yeah, what Blue Point game? This is how you share games. Microsoft left the door wide open of Sony just going, we're not doing what they're doing. And if Microsoft takes July, and July it's like, oh, there's a bunch of cross-gen games optimized for Series X, and then Sony comes out and goes, here's next-generation games only on PlayStation 5. And if they look amazing, and it's like, look at the lighting. Oh my God, look at this. Is this really a game? Oh my God, what? I'm controlling this? They're controlling this? It's happened before, right? Ravenflow, I was going to say that. I kept seeing that article. Do you believe that Ubisoft has talked about friggin'... They announced today that they're going to have... They're like, oh, and there's going to be DLC about friggin' Beowulf or some bullshit. I'm like, are you kidding me? You show 2 seconds of goddamn gameplay of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and then you show something where it's Beowulf or some bullshit DLC? What? Fuck, are you kidding me? Don't go full Ubisoft, please. They are the worst publisher to have in your corner launching a goddamn product. Please, DLC. They showed 2 seconds of fucking gameplay, and they're talking about Beowulf DLC. I was like, holy shit. Like, where is it? Where the hell is this shit? I was like, what? Eurogamer had it. Yeah. You believe these sons of bitch? I tell you, man, they got friggin' Ubisoft balls of steel. Assassin's Creed Valhalla Season Pass. Oh, we're talking about they got the balls to have Season Pass store listings in the Ubisoft German store. Talking about a fucking Beowulf mission. Dudes. Don't go full Ubisoft. Look at this. Pre-order exclusives Beowulf mission. They didn't even show gameplay, and they're talking. They got friggin' they got the season passes rolling out here. I tell you, man, gaming has gone some bullshit right now. Gaming has gone to hell with some of this shit. We need a hero. We need somebody to show us why we need to upgrade to next generation. We need a hero. We need somebody to show us. And if it's Sony, or if it's Master Chief. Ubisoft is a business, but they just still don't have to go kick you out, take you out in the back alley and kick you in the nuts, too. Jesus. People, everything's a business, but Jesus. At least massage my back before you kick me in the nuts. You know? My God. But they're going to show that stuff in July. They finessed the finesse. That's what they did, man. They finessed the finesse. They finessed the finesse, man. They gave them no gameplay, and now they basically have an event in July 12th. That's what they did. They finessed their own guy. But I tell you, man, it was something else. We're gonna do this. I said this is Ubisoft to Microsoft this week. This is them right here. Whoever seen A Bronx Tale? Favorite movie? Kryptonite. It's over, baby. What happened? Eddie Mush. Ubisoft comes down here. Put me in your Xbox 2020. Put me in your Xbox 20. Oh, shit. Rip those tickets up. Eddie Mush. He's a fucking jinx. We've been mushed. Microsoft got mushed. Ubisoft. Microsoft, put me in your 2020 highlight. Come on. God damn it, he lost. Know what I say to Ubisoft? This is what I tell Ubisoft right now. This is what I tell Ubisoft. Hold on, Ubi. Here comes Ubisoft with the Xbox 2020. Hey, Phil. Phil, I want to put my gameplay trail in your Xbox 2020. Here he comes.
You gotta hit the wall. Come on, you can do it. Huh? Hit the wall.
Here comes Ubisoft. Here they come. Hey, Phil, let me put some gameplay in this trailer.
I don't want your money touching my money. What's the matter? I don't want your money in the same way. My money's no good no more. Why?
Why? Because you're a fucking jinx. That's why. Here, put him in a fucking bedroom.
Put him in the bedroom. Put him in the bedroom. Get the fuck out of here. Put him in the bedroom, that friggin' jinx. Put that gameplay in the bedroom. Yo, yes, that Glenn said that was an awesome quote. Yeah, I actually now you can't leave. Nah. Oh shit, Meds, put him in the bedroom. Meds, put him in the bedroom. Yeah, that's my favorite movie, man. I love The Bronx Tale. But man, Eddie Mush. Eddie Mush, don't. Yo, if Eddie Mush bets on something, his money's not good yet. That was Ubisoft this week. They were the Eddie Mush to Microsoft right now. They basically just kick Microsoft in the nuts. Put him in the bedroom, that son of a bitch. Where is it? Where's my other one? I got my other one here. Where's my good one here? What the hell is it? Damn it, Everett.
Somebody's talking too much. It's costing me money.
That was Phil Spencer interview right there. Oh, is it? It's based on the neighborhood you grew up in, man? That's crazy. All right, so Phil, after the inside Xbox 2020, Phil Spencer went to Satya Nadella, and he said this about Aaron Greenberg.
Somebody's talking too much. It's costing me money.
So then after Phil, did that, and he went to Satya, and he said that again.
Somebody's talking too much. It's costing me money.
So then Satya told Phil, well, do it. And Phil's like, you sure, Satya? Should I do it? And Satya's like, yeah. He's costing us some money. He's promising too much bullshit, and he's pissing me off. So I think you should do it. And Phil's like, you really? I should do it to him? He goes, yeah. He goes, I think you should do it. He's like, you need photos, Satya? And Satya's like, yeah, I need photos. He's talking too much. And he needs to be taken care of. So Phil goes, okay, I'll do it. And I'll send you the photos. Now, if you notice, the photos did leak on the internet. And Phil, Phil said, I can't keep a straight face on this story. And Phil's like, so then Phil's like, I'm going to do it because this son of a bitch it's costing us too much money. It's costing us too much money. Satya, I'm sending you the picture. So he goes, okay, let me see it. I want to make sure he's taken care of. He goes, dress that son of a bitch in an Ori costume. Take a picture of him. He's talking too much.
Somebody's talking too much. It's costing me money.
My ass hurts just watching this.
I gotta pay.
This dude.
And that's it. I don't want to hear nothing else.
Not playing to win is like sleeping with your sister. Sure, she's a great piece of tail with a blouse full of goodies, but it's just illegal.
I don't play this game.
Yep. But anyway, this guy hurt them this week. Him and Ubisoft. Yeah, so The Verge. Wait a second. You said The Verge debunked it? Let's go to The Verge. Yeah, because I think The Verge got it from somewhere else, right? Because I think they looked into it because they actually asked. The reason, you know what's funny? The Med said, yeah, Med. What's funny is that the question about the 60 frames per second to Ubisoft was because of Aaron Greenberg's tweet. That was the thing. Like, so basically, because Aaron Greenberg said 60 frames per second was going to be the standard, that made them ask the question. And then they said, hey, we're at least 30. So let's see, what you said, The Verge, a Verge on 60 FPS and Series X. Let me see, where is that? Well, if you drop the link, oh wait, Mads, I gotta. I'm trying to find it. Here, is this it? Well, this is Gaming Bolt. See, 60 frames per second might not become the standard on PS5 and Xbox Series X, suggests the Sinking City dev. So now the Sinking City dev, not only Ubisoft, but the Sinking City dev said, I think more and more devs will offer a choice between resolution and frame rate. I personally hope 60 frames per second will become the standard, but optimization is not the key. Yeah, man, we're in a tough time. A tough time because, these devs are still working with the hardware. They're not committing to 60 frames if they can't hit it and all this other stuff. That's why I think That's why you don't lead off with indie developers. You know what I mean? Like, that's why you don't lead off with indies. You don't lead off with third party. You use, like, your first party should be able to maximize, like, to be closer to the potential. See, that's why I'm, like, saying, like, you typically lead off with first party because first party has been using the, okay, I'll check Twitter. First party, right? First party has been utilizing the hardware more, right? So basically, what is that? Oh, I don't see it yet. Well, Callie, I didn't see yours. What did you do? I see Callie. Oh, but your video? Hold on. Was it a video or you tweeted about something else? Oh, shit. That's not Callie. The fuck that was? I'm not going down that thing. That was Callie Rex. There you go, Callie. What'd you say? Oh, this video? Here it is. Oh, Tom Warren. There we go. So, oh, yeah, I saw this. I saw what Tom Warren said. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I liked it and retweeted. Yeah. So he says Series X games won't run a 60 frame standard output. Microsoft tells me ultimately it's up to the devs. Just like they said with the series, with the X. Like, just like they said the X. Like, we're targeting 4K 60, 4K, or like 4K 60, but not together, not true, and it's true 4K, which is technically upscaled and all that other stuff. And if you look, you want to see something. I showed this at what, midnight? Where is it? And probably PlayStation doesn't like that they're getting thrown into this mix too. That's why they're going to probably shift and focus on things that that they are not like, hey, here's some games. But the thing is like, I don't think this is the end of 30 frames per second. Like, I think that probably Sony's first. I bet you Horizon Zero Dawn will probably, too, if it exists, would have a performance mode and probably has a 30 frames per second mode. You know what I mean? Like, I do think that they probably are going to do that. Like, I don't think this is the end of 30 frames per second games on consoles. The thing is that for me, it's not 60 frames per second or death. Right? I'm not like, hey, if it's below 60, it's a trash game. I agree that frames per second is huge. It is a better experience. But I'm not going to play a game because it is at a lower frame rate. Right? Especially if it's an exclusive game. Like, if it's a game I only could play on a certain platform, whatever frame it is, that's the best frame you're going to get, right? So, I'm not going to go, well, God of War is at 30 frames per second. I'm not playing that trash because it's 30 frames per second. The thing is that it is what it is, and I do feel that certain games should definitely have 60 frames per second as a minimum. Like shooters, action games, like they should definitely have that. But if it's a more atmospheric game, a slower paced game, or a much more, cinematic game, put it at 30 frames per second with better lighting and all that other stuff if it's not a fast action game. If you want an example, think about basically if you're doing a podcast, right? And you got a bunch of talking heads like we have in our shows, right? Do I want to render everybody at 720p 60 frames per second? I want everybody at 60 frame video cams. Why am I going to have that when we're just sitting there talking heads? There's no reason, there's no fast movement or anything like that. Why would I want them at 60 frames per second? I rather them sharper. So I would probably say, hey, let's up the res to like 1080p 30 or 4K 30. Let's make our heads, in the video clearer. Let's do that. However, if I'm going to stream a game, then I'm going to make sure the game is running at the higher frame rate for a smooth experience. But you see, there's needs for higher frame rates. Like because there is a compromise that needs to be made. Even when I'm looking at, playing the games on a 2060, yeah, it's not a 2080 Ti, but you know what? Even a 2080 Ti will see its match. You know what I mean? And now, we're not even talking about 60. We're talking about 144 hertz 100, and we're talking about even higher frame rates, which means is you got to make more compromises in the graphics and resolution to get those higher frame rates. I'm dropping my resolutions to 1080p possibly, or turning everything onto medium to try to get a frame rate over 100. Compromises need to be made. And unfortunately, a variety of resolutions are not supported by TVs, which are consoles technically run they're more made for TVs than made for monitors that support a variety of resolutions. TVs usually support 60 hertz and maybe 120 hertz, or then it uses crazy interlacing to try to give you higher frame rates. But typically, consoles are played on TVs, and TVs are either in 1080p or 4K. There are no 2K TVs. So if I'm going to make a console that's going to be primarily played on a TV, I'm going to support resolutions natively of what typically a TV is selling, and that's a 4K, right? So why would you, and possibly that's why the frame rates are suffering, because they are targeting a resolution standard of a TV, which is where a console is typically played. Yes, you could hook up a console to a PC, but typically a console is hooked up to a TV. And TVs typically don't go over 60 frames per second unless you're going to get a high-end TV with higher frames, and then there's interpolation that gives you like a higher frame rate than that, and that's all software-based. But the native refresh rates are typically 60 frames per second. And just recently, now every HDMI port supports that. Remember, I'm doing 144 hertz on a 30-inch curved screen, 2K screen, but I'm using a display port because I'm using G-Sync and FreeSync. There is no G-Sync and FreeSync on a friggin' TV right now. Or maybe there is, some of them, but not that I'm aware of at Best Buy. And technically, when I run my PC on my 4K screen, it sucks because the TV gives me all the fucking screen tearing. If it even goes over a little bit of 60 frames per second. PCs can be played on TV, but TVs are not the optimal experience. And I can tell you that because I have a gaming PC hooked up to a TV, and I have one now I just put on a monitor, and it's night and day. Just like Cali Rex says, I hook my monitor up because TVs are slow. Totally right. When you got that much power on a PC, when you run it on a TV, the TV doesn't even do it justice. Oh, so Guy's Code says he has a TV. So you got his TV. So what TV, Guy's Code, what TV has FreeSync? Is it Samsung? I think Samsung has them, right? Is it Samsung that does them? I don't know if it's Sony. Or LG. LG? Or AOC. Is it AOC? I don't know. AOC, I have that computer monitor. Gelco. Oh, Geico. Geico makes a TV or insurance? Geico TV? Well, I just said Best Buy. I don't think Best Buy sells Geico TVs, but I'm sure there are TVs out there. That's pretty awesome. 4K 120 hertz. That's awesome because I got a 2K 120 hertz 30 AOC one, and it's incredible. I love it. And playing games on there is great. Problem is that I plug a PlayStation into that thing, it doesn't work. Because the PlayStation's supporting either 4K or nice. The QAD, the Q990T. Yeah, because I heard of you when you have the higher refresh rates, the console either it's not going to detect 2K, so it's going to do either 4K or 1080p. Because the console just does two resolutions. And that's why Xbox is pretty good with supporting other resolutions, because they know that some people game on monitors with their consoles, especially for streaming and stuff. So I do think that that's a cool future aspect of it. Geico has some sort of, I don't know. Geico, I've seen Geico at PAX. But anyway, one thing I was on the screen for is because, where are those? Oh, shit, here we go, look. This motherfucker took an 8K ready. Look at this. Digress. But yeah, look at this. Oh, shit. Yeah. Wait. Where was that website? There was this it? So what they did here, what is Assassin's Creed? So people were pulling up here because look what they did. They just said 4K smart delivery. And then in some games, they actually have 4K smart delivery. Wait, where is it? HDR smart delivery. There's supposedly somebody said that they had this, but look. They said it, was it on here? Shit, where was it? They said true 4K. So, like, we're not even going to get guaranteed. This one has ray tracing, the medium. So, which is probably why. This game looks not bad. But this is CGI. This is not real gameplay. This gameplay here, is this. Like, look at this. Next gen. Guys. Resident Evil looks a little better than this. It's going to be hard. But anyway. Yeah, there's something where they actually had true 4K in here. And so it doesn't look like everything's going to be just native. Hey, look at this. Chorus has 60 frames per second. So Bright Memory got 60 frames per second. Like Cole, see, like these little games, the Ascent, these are 60 frames per second. Like, see? This don't, like... We can't just have, like, this is what I'm trying to say. We can't just have a laundry list of this stuff. Like, this can't just be like, hey, 4K, 60, ray tracing, smart delivery, and it's like... These are cutscenes, man. These are all cutscenes. Like, look at this game, right? Look at the photos that they're showing, right? Look at the photos that they're showing. What kind of game is this, right? And then here's the trailer. Right? Look at those great up close scenes and all that other stuff, right? Oh, wow, look at those graphics. Like, look. Oh, look what it is. This is what kind of game it is. It's not this game. This is a cutscene. It's not this. It's this. It's a flying game. It's not that. It's this. Looks cool. But I'm saying the photos that they're showing have not one picture of what kind of game it is. Which is this. Like, they should have a picture of this thing here. You know? I don't know why none of them have a picture of like her flying, because that's the game. It's not these cutscenes. You know, like this is a screenshot. Like this, they should have, right? Like this, like that's looks like a cutscene. Like there you go. That's a cutscene. Like, oh, there you go. That should be on the screenshots, like something like this. But no. They got all the oh, look at this game. It's like, okay. But anyway, it says and they keep using the same word here, but basically they're saying like here and this optimize. Here's our stamp, guys. Here's our tramp stamp. It's our trap. It's like a tramp stamp. Here, this is where it is. So when you see our wonderful tramp stamp, right? Optimize a Series X. What does that mean? It could mean a bunch of things. It could mean load times. It could mean highlighted visuals. It could mean steadier frame rates up to 120. Includes new titles built natively using the development environment of the Series X. Using the development environment. But it also could mean this reflects true lighting in real time with true 4K, and we know what true 4K means. True 4K is native. It's checkerboarding. It's all that stuff. Next gen frame rates. They keep advertising 120 frames per second, but you know they're not mandating it. It's just these are the capabilities of the machine, and we've been through this before, right? And this is what they're going to do. Smart delivery and all this other stuff. And I said this before. Smart delivery could have an advantage if Sony doesn't do something like that. If Sony just says, hey, you got to rebuy your games, then smart delivery is a thing. But if Sony's going to just do the same thing with backwards compatibility and forwards compatibility, like you buy a game now and it works moving forward, and you know they just call it a boost or it gets boosted, like you know the PS4 Pro, then smart delivery is just a whatever. It's just a marketing term by them. But we got to see what Sony does. You know, Sony might be doing the same thing. But the one thing I just want to leave you with, guys, and shout out to all the grinders that came in. Yo, what's up, Lincoln Clay? Yo, where's our VR, baby? Where's our VR? Where's Iron Man? He's delayed indefinitely, Lincoln. The hell Iron Man go? He got delayed with The Last of Us 2. We don't hear from him anymore. That don't happen to Iron Man VR. Yo, Lincoln, while you're in here, did you check out the new Walking Dead game? It's a little too expensive, but I hear that it is a great port of the PC version. Like, it is, like, clean. I don't know if you tried it out yet. Oh, what's Cassie? Only one thing? So, one thing. The last thing is like, you know, just to kind of revisit this last thing. Let's see. Oh, like I said. Oh, you got it on PC. How is it? Because I might pick it up. Is it good? It's supposedly it's open, not open world. Well, it's like open world. Like it's like a survival game, isn't it? In VR. Oh, maybe coming out in August. I'm in VR. We will see. But So the last thing, Cali Rex. The last thing I want to leave us with is I want to thank everybody. The Saints and Sinners game, but I haven't played. Yeah, it's the Saints and Sinners game. That's what it is. The Walking Dead. But so we really need to see what's the next place here. So like Microsoft left with their foot. Nice. I love physics. Love physics on VR games. That's fun. But we'll have to see what Sony moving forward. Yes. But the one thing I wanted to say is if we remember back in 2013 when Microsoft led the next generation conversation in their reveal and talked about the always online. They talked about how you're going to trade in your games. Said the disc is just going to be a delivery system and you'll share your games and all this stuff. Oh, and it's going to be $500. And when they announced the price, the narrative was Sony was going to do the same thing. And when Sony went out in that infamous E3 in 2013 and just went on stage and going, we're not doing any of that stuff. Our system could be played offline. You could share your games. You could do this. You could do that. And basically they just said, we're not doing that. And now we're here again in 2020. Microsoft started the conversation for next generation again. And everybody's like, well, next gen games are really not going to look that much better. Look at what we saw from Xbox. It's really, we're at the rate of limiting returns right now. It's the next generation is just going to be optimized games. It's not going to really show any graphical differences or any benefits except for load times. And this is what it is. And look at these games that they are just like mid-gen refresh type games. And Sony's probably going to, and everybody's like, well, if this is what next generation is, I'm not doing it. Oh, all the games are going to be this and that. And all Sony has to do is just show us next generation gameplay, show us some games, show us that there's different resolution modes, there's different, performance modes, and basically just do everything. Microsoft has given them all the bullet points to counter. And if you remember back when this thing whole started, before Microsoft even announced the Series X in December, the key point was they are getting ready for next generation. That's why they weren't showing the games. And Microsoft basically needed to have clear, concise messaging. And what's crazy is that they have had good messaging. December was good. Their reveal was good. Having, Digital Foundry talk about their console, showing it, showing the hard drive, showing everything. Their messaging was good when it came to the hardware. However, when it came to showing the software and what the benefits are in action, the games, like we all said, that's where they just took 2 steps back. And now where they're back to kind of like they did not deliver the goods, and this thing has gone bigger than just a fanboys and things like that. Like websites, everybody's reporting on this stuff that like this is not good. Bad. And we need a hero. We need something to fix this, to show us why we need next generation. And if Microsoft's not going to show any more games until July, that leaves June wide open for Sony to come in and really show what's going on. Now, if Sony doesn't do anything, they could show it in July. But also, Sony has 2 big games coming in June and July. So Microsoft's going to have a lot of noise to compete with moving forward. So we'll have to see where it goes from there. But they waited and they put themselves back against the wall. It's going to be put up or shut up with their first party lineup. And I swear, and that's a great line, put up or shut up with their first party lineup. That's what it's going to be. And it has come to this. Game 7. Tie game. Well, not even a tie game. But it's down to Game 7 right now. Unless they come out and pull some crazy stuff out in June, all eyes are on July. And they made a big point to say July is the time. And July is the time to show what's a sneak peek of what their first party. If that show is not top tier first party big games, they're going to have a huge problem. If they come in there and show a bunch of hokey dokey passion projects, Game Pass games, and then say, here's Halo, here's Fable, and call it a day, oh, goodness gracious. I don't know if they could come back from it, guys. Because they're already like 1 foot out. And it's going to be a tough time. But we will see. A lot of stuff can change. But 30 frames per second, I don't think it's the end. Console, dude, call me a console peasant. Hey, 30 frames per second, if it's a game that has a reasoning for it, and it's the only place to play it, then I'm going to play it. All right? But, some games I think really need the frames per second. And, if they do have performance, they have options in there. That's great. They should do that. But if you really, really, really want nothing less than 60 frames and you're depending on consoles to do that, then you shouldn't be on the console. If it really, really matters to you. If you're like, hey, 30 frames per second games are trash, I'm not going to get that, then don't get next generation because you don't have any control over it. And you got to hope they put in a performance modes in these games. You don't want to be at the mercy of the devs. You control your own power, invest in a PC, and then you can control all the frame rates you want. If you want it on console, we're going to have to be compromised. We're going to have to wait and see what the devs do. I play on both. I prefer consoles. PC is great. I love PC too, but I really am a console player. And I like the convenience of just turning on a thing, playing it, having my friends list, having everything just work. And the PC stuff, I feel, a little bit of a loner place. But it is definitely quality gaming on PC. And I encourage everybody, I do gaming laptops. I don't have a rig. Like, I got gaming laptops, which I like the portability. And I know there's compromises with gaming laptops. With the heat and all that other stuff. I got them on like heating pads and stuff, like, with the fan pads and stuff like that, but cooling pads. But it's fun. It works. It's great. And you can do a lot more with PC. I do a photo editing and editing and stuff like that. So like, PC is good, but I don't do keyboard and mouse gameplay. I don't do that. But anyway, guys, Ubisoft, Eddie Mush. Don't bet on Ubisoft to lead your generation off. And good luck to Xbox and Phil Ness and Greenberg. You owe a second apology, I guess. I don't know, but stop talking. And all you guys, grinders, all I got to say is thank you so much for the support. Thank you for a whole bunch of new subs. Welcome, new grinders, to the Grindhouse. Well, you're welcomed here, man. We just talk it out and we rock it out. That's what we do here in the Grindhouse. And I want to thank everybody here. Hope you like the show over on Twitter, if that worked. I'll restream it there, too, when I do my live things. We got people on the Twitch. Shout out to What Grinds My Gears 7780, my Twitch channel. We got viewers over there, too. Thank you very much. Guys, if you haven't followed me there, I have 35 people. So, if I want, I'm trying to get to 50. But definitely follow me over there. Yes, and get me to 1,000 subs. Thank you. Yes, but we're almost there. I went to 360 today, so it's been huge, and the support's been great. And thank you again, guys. I love doing this. Like, as you know, I love to talk and vent and play with the soundboard, but I love just talking to you guys. Like, I wouldn't do this, if it wasn't for the interaction and stuff like that. I love just talking games and doing that all the time. And let me know if there's any topics and stuff you want to do, so I don't have to keep thinking of the topics. If there's anything, hit me up on Twitter, or even in the chat down here. Hey, Jez, I want to hear, talk about this. Let me know, man, and I'll definitely, do it, because, I'll see what I can do, and if I could get some stuff, because, as you know, my biggest thing is I go back and I look at what has been done and try to apply it to what's going to happen. I'm always up for surprises, but if I see a pattern of what's been going on, I can only assume that pattern will continue. And that's where my frustrations come a lot with what we've seen from Microsoft and what I've seen from Sony in the recent years. If those patterns continue, now things can change. It could come on here and be like, Sony just dropped the ball and Sony said, screw you, here's a bunch of cross-gen games, enjoy. Last of Us, play it again. And Sony don't have any new games, we're going to talk about it. Because then next gen may not be as exciting as we think. But hopefully we need a hero and maybe somebody will come through. But thanks again, guys. Thank you, Little Daddy, watching over on the Periscopes. And, we got people watching over there. Hopefully you like it over there, too. I'm going to put it on there, and I have it on there. But PugG's over there as well. Thank you very much over there. And, guys, with that, play some games, have fun, and I'll be probably doing this again maybe this week, or, we'll see. Just hit the notifications and the subscribe, and, you'll get that notification. I'll tweet it out when we go. But I try to do ones every Monday. And then I've been doing some late ones at night. So, whenever something, hits me up. But thanks Jemiah. Thank you everybody for coming in. Gaming Night 123. What's up, PlayStation 5 Gamer, Lincoln Clay, Meds, Kali, Guys Code, Raven Flow. Can't forget that always the first guy comes in, DeFloyd, Impatient Fire, Masturbator, Mog, Twisted Sink. What do we had? We got I had the Hyro Bree, Josh Sold, Guys Code. And thank you again, guys. Grinders, the Grindhouse is closed for another evening. Good night.